Hey guys, I wanted to go live really quick and answer a couple questions that I've been getting this week from mostly our prospecting group, but I've been getting a lot of messages from agents in general about this topic. So I want to talk a little bit about what to do when you're running out of numbers to call. A lot of agents that I'm coaching right now are saying, Kate, there's really only like 10 FSBOs in my area. There's only 10 expireds. What do I do? And our next recommendation for you guys is going to be to get outside and start door knocking. So on the subject of door knocking, I get a lot of questions on what to say when you're face to face with people. Who should you be door knocking? Who should you be targeting for these, conversations? So I want to go over that a little bit with you guys right now. So when we look at door knocking, it's really just another way to get in touch with these contacts. So typically, guys, of course, if you're not hitting these expireds and these FSBOs on the phone, you should be door knocking them at least once a day and putting some sort of packet of value together so that you can stand up above the rest, right? Because if they're ignoring your phone call, they're probably ignoring 10 other agents' phone calls too. And while the weather's turning, there's really no reason why you guys can't take your least productive hours of the day, let's say from 2 to 4, and put some packages together and go knock 10 FSBOs. Since you're at their door anyway, you guys, you should be taking an opportunity to knock 10 doors to the left, 10 doors to the right, 10 doors across the street. Well, Kate, what do we say? You would be knocking on their doors and saying, hi, my name's Kate Simon. I'm a realtor in the area. I see your neighbor's home on 123 Main Street. It's a FSBO. We may have some buyers interested in the area, but I'm curious, who else do you know on the street that's looking to move? Okay. 9 times out of 10, you guys, I think our expectations need to be that you're knocking on a cold door. Chances of them wanting to sell are slim. Having said that, if they are interested in doing something in the next 3 to 6 months, you're the first one there and you're the first one that's reaching out to them and you're making a face-to-face contact, okay? So you're coming across stronger than any other agent that they're even thinking of. So people respect that a lot. For point of reference, I built my entire business in California on door knocking and 90% of the doors were completely cold. So I think as long as you guys can shift the mindset away from expireds and FSBOs to I'm door knocking to build relationships and this might not be immediate business, you should be in a good position to get some good contacts and some leads from it. So I wanted to go over a couple other reasons why you might door knock. The first and probably the most popular reason is just listed, just sold. So if you have your sign in the neighborhood and they see, Rob Thronberg just, sold this house, you've already been advertising in that neighborhood for 30, 60, 90 days. They drive by the house every single day. They see your name. So guess what? If you take an afternoon to knock that entire neighborhood, they're going to remember you and you're going to be the first person that comes to mind when they're looking to buy or sell real estate. So first and foremost, guys, if your sign's in the yard, you should be door knocking that neighborhood anyway, just to introduce yourself and to find out, hey guys, who do you know that's looking to move next, right? So a lot of people come to me and they ask, all right, Kate, well, what's the script? What's the script? And I think it's really important to understand that when you're face to face with somebody, the primary goal is to make a connection with them, okay? You're not on the phone. They're not going to hang up with you. I would say 99% of the time, people are going to be super polite. You want to have a conversation with them and essentially find out who do they know who's looking to sell next and have they ever considered selling? So when it comes to a script, I don't want you guys standing at the door and reading bullet point to bullet point because it's not genuine and people are going to get turned off by that. I would rather you knock on the door, say, hey, my name's Kate. I was just in the area. You know what? We're just closing on your neighbor's house down the street. We've had a lot of great interest on the property. And I was curious, who else do you know that's looking to sell? Okay, nobody? I'm curious. Have you guys ever thought about selling? And leave it at that, right? Just have a conversation. But there's no real formal script and line of questioning that you should be following. Now, keep in mind, if you get somebody at the door and they say, you know what, Kate, we are actually thinking about moving in the next 3 to 6 months, then you go to any traditional script that we have, which would be, if you sold this house, where are you moving to next? How soon do you have to be there? What's important to you about that place? When can we get together and talk about what that plan would look like? So those are the same questions that we have in our expired script and our FSBO script and any other script. And it's essentially finding out their motivation, finding out their timing, and finding out when you can meet with them to go over what you can do to sell property in the area. So Guys, if you're door knocking, don't overthink it. It's not a super complicated script. The goal is to get face-to-face with people and have face-to-face contact and ask them who they know who's thinking about buying or selling. So that would be for just listed, just sold, circle prospecting. Again, guys, another one you could do if you're like, hey, Kate, I don't have any buyers, I don't have any listings. You can take a recent sale from your company or a recent sale from an associate, or you guys can knock cold doors, right? There's nothing wrong with targeting an area where there's a lot of real estate transactions going on and saying, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I know that there's buyers who always want to get to this area, and I'm curious who you know that might be looking to sell. And if they're like, why are you knocking on my door? You can say something to the effect of, well, there's a shortage of inventory right now. We know your neighborhood's incredibly popular, and we're just curious if you know of anyone who's talked about selling soon. Okay. Now, there's a couple points I want you guys to remember when you're door knocking. When you're door knocking an area, even if you don't have a sale in the area, even if you don't actually have a buyer, do some research before you hit the doors and know what is currently on the market and what has currently sold, okay? And you can just print it up on like a one-page sheet, have it with you, because here's what's gonna happen. When you do actually engage in solid conversation with somebody, they're gonna say to you, Kate, you know what did that house on 123 Main sell for? You know, hey, I noticed that they just put, 123 Front Street for sale. What's that one going for? So you need to be able to answer those questions to actually sound like an area expert. Otherwise, if you're standing at their door and you're asking for a real estate lead and you say, I don't know, it's not going to look very good, right? So before you go door knocking, just print a one-page active pending sold, and you don't have to know everything about those properties. Don't overthink it, but you should have a good idea of what the comps are for the area that you're knocking. I have a couple points here that I'm going to wrap up with for why door knock instead of call. Number one, guys, face to face. Okay. I would say that I personally got an incredible response face to face. I showed up at their door. It's incredibly hard for somebody to just slam a door in your face, although occasionally it does happen. And it's a lot easier if somebody calls you to just hang up the phone on them. So understand that if you're face to face and they open the door and you're smiling and you're just a positive person, they're going to enjoy talking to you guys. Okay. So you have that advantage right there of increasing your conversion rate. Number two, guys, it's more intentional when you're door knocking as opposed to, I know a lot of us, we can get on dialers, there's people walking around the office, we're checking our emails. When you're door knocking, you are physically walking house to house, knocking on their door, watching them come through the kitchen, and you're waiting for them to answer the door. So there's a lot more intention that comes with door knocking versus just making phone calls, okay? Number three, no one else is really doing it. This is something that I've literally been begging agents in Michigan to start doing. And one of my past coaching clients, Lisa, she started doing it in June, and she did like 6 or 7 deals in 3 months just from door knocking. It's 90% of how I built my business in California. Nobody here in the Midwest is door knocking because of the weather. So if you guys can use that as your advantage and get out and get face to face with people, just know that nobody else is going for those leads right now. Whereas when I was prospecting in California, I'd be door knocking somebody and they would answer the door and they would say, Kate, you're the 4th realtor that's knocked on my door this week. So I predict in the next 3-ish years, that's exactly where we're going to go with the real estate market here. So be the first one that starts the habit of door knocking in your office, on your team, in your market center. Okay. Last but not least, guys, clients really respect the hustle. I can't even tell you how many times when I'm door knocking and I get a lead, people say, crap, we would list with you just because you actually showed up to our door. We want an agent that works that hard for us. So keep in mind, guys, it's not hard. Get outside. It's the weather's starting to turn nice. And a couple questions I get as far as like, what do you wear and how do you do it? Dress professional, right, guys? We're professional real estate agents. But for me, I just had a pair of black Nikes, right? I mean, I didn't wear, high heels or boots or anything like that. I kept it comfortable so I could keep a steady pace and get some, inconspicuous tennis shoes. And most people are going to understand that. They're not going to look at you and say, oh, he's wearing, nice business clothes and tennis shoes, right? So make sure you guys are comfortable. Otherwise, you're not going to do it. The second thing I want to bring up is the normal ratio of who's going to answer the door is 3 people per every 10 doors you knock. Okay, that's normal. So if you're looking at those numbers and you're thinking, wow, Kate, that ratio is a lot lower, Sometimes yes, sometimes no. You know, obviously if you door knock on a Saturday or Sunday, that ratio is going to be a lot higher. But in general, we find that the ratio is for every 10 doors you're knocking, about 3 of them are going to answer. But keep in mind, it's a higher quality contact because you're face to face, right? And if this isn't somebody that you necessarily have to do business with right now, at the very least, you guys can build a relationship with them and put them in your database. So really consider, guys, if you're getting stale on the phones, if you're getting stale with lead generation, everybody should be implementing some sort of door knocking routine from 2 to 4 every day, from 4 to 6 every day, whatever that looks like for you guys, okay? Last but not least, and here's a tip that I go over with everybody in my prospecting bootcamp. If you are door knocking, if you're at their door anyway, do a flyer drop, okay? And what I mean by a flyer drop is it's nothing fancy, it's not crazy marketing material, don't get glossy postcards made. Literally what I used to do is I would type a quick message and it would say, hey, we just sold your neighbor's house on 123 Main Street, we had multiple buyers, they're looking in this area, who else do you know that's looking to sell? I would print that on a piece of paper, I would have 2 of them, I'd print 100 of them, cut them in half, go door knocking and leave them on the porch if they didn't answer. I would get phone calls from those flyers because people were interested, but they just weren't home when I knocked on their door. So think about it this way, guys. If you're already going to do the legwork and you're going to knock at neighborhood, you might as well flyer drop at the same time. Just don't get hung up on making some crazy marketing piece to the point where you don't get outside and door knock. Doesn't have to be anything special. It just has to get done. Okay. I don't know. Does anybody have any questions about door knocking? I see a couple of you chimed in here. If you have any questions, I'm going to wrap this up in the next couple minutes, but send them now, or you can add them to the comment section and I will get to them later. All right. Nobody has any questions. Okay. All right, guys. If you do have questions, feel free to leave them in the comment section and I'll go ahead and answer them. Other than that, guys, I hope I answered most of your questions about what sort of script we would use and also why door knocking and why everybody should be doing it. All right, guys. Hope you have a great day so far.